All right, so we've got Michigan in the Final Four, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how you're feeling about this, but I'm feeling pretty excited. We also have Duke losing. Big bracket buster for everybody. You tell me, write it below in the comments. Is your bracket shattered now that old Duke is out? One of mine is, one of mine's not. I actually predicted UConn would win. Um, so, anyways, put it down, like it, put it in the chat, like and subscribe. I'm Mark. You're going to get some Hermdo once he realizes we're live. And welcome to the Fan Forum. All right, so you heard it first, or I don't know. You probably already heard the news by now, but Michigan is in the Final Four, which I think is exciting. Something I thought we all hoped for because we have technically um, the best basketball player in college basketball right now, but we'll let Hermdo weigh in on that when he joins us. We're also going to cover the Tigers, the rise of Kevin McGonigal. We've had opening day, not here in Comerica Park yet, but we've had opening day in Detroit. We also have the Pistons surging without Cade Cunningham. I don't know who saw that, but Dennis Jenkins has done a great job. We're going to talk about that. Red Wings, well, I think it's over, ladies and gentlemen. I think the Hermdo guarantee of making the playoffs was a poor guarantee by that itself. Olonka Hermdo, I'm sorry, buddy, but the Iser plan is falling. Everybody is losing interest in the Red Wings, and that's just the way it is. What do you think? You think it's time to give up, ladies and gentlemen, on the Red Wings? I don't know. We'll see. But I'll wait for Hermdo until we get to that level. But Michigan, all right, I need everybody to tell me right now how their bracket's looking. This Michigan basketball team has proclaimed themselves the best Michigan basketball team out there, which is a lot to say considering the plethora of all-stars that have gone to this lovely school. Let's see. Oh, love it. We already have somebody in the comments. I didn't expect Michigan to put a beat down like that on Tennessee. I did. I really think that this Michigan team is special. And I think that beatdown that we saw is evident. And if you look at the Alabama game after halftime, right? That was the identifier, right? So once they get rolling, and it's just unstoppable. But thank you for joining us again. I appreciate that. We got Hermdo in. I'm going to bring him in real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Where is he at?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Uncle Hermdo. Look at you in your Tigers gear.
Yeah, definitely had my I had a good excuse to bust out the old Tigers hoodie. I had this for a while, but yeah, I got my filthy Detroit Tigers hat. You can really see. I need a new one. Every hat I have is dirty. Every piece of every article of clothing I have is filth. It's just covered in grease and body odor, and it's not looking good, Mark. It's not looking good. I got to wash this shit totally. But yeah, just thought I'd slap together a little ensemble for you. Let's talk about. I believe. We got Michigan. I watched a bit of that game. They were slapping around Tennessee pretty good. It was about 20 points. They went on this 21-0 run in the early part of the first half, and they were firmly in control. Looked like it was a hell of a game. 95-62 was the final score. They absolutely handled the Volunteers. They are now in the Final Four. First time in a while since the days of John Beilein. But yeah, it's a great performance. Yaxel Landenberg looked elite out there, as he always does. Michigan basketball is back under Dusty May. It's looking really good. I'm liking their chances. I don't know how many people's brackets are still intact right now. Lots of upsets. But yeah. Let's. What did you make of the game, Mark? What do you make of all this? How do you feel about Michigan?
I feel like they have unleashed a inner beast in themselves. It's no surprise that Duke got knocked out by 1 point, but when I look at a team like Arizona, I think really that's really what this whole tournament runs through is Duke and Arizona.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I think Michigan's defense, when they're playing at their top level, is unstoppable. I think that their offense is electrifying right now, and I can't disagree that this is probably one of the better teams that you've seen out of Michigan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't fault. I mean, I can't really disagree with anything you say there, but yeah, just the way it's come along, in the this last year. I mean, really, just dominating performances, really elite basketball. Now we got the Final Four set. We got Arizona and Michigan, 2 1 seeds, and then we got UConn and Illinois. UConn who knocked off Duke. Pretty impressive performance from those guys. Arizona knocked off Purdue. Purdue gave Michigan some trouble before the tournament, but no, don't have to worry about them anymore. But yeah, Illinois knocked off Iowa. Michigan, as we discussed, took care of Tennessee. We got the Final Four set, so it's looking pretty good. Oh shoot. Oh, hold on 1 second. I'm just typing some stuff here, but yeah. Did you watch any of the game at all, or did you check that out?
I got to watch up until the final ending of. I've luckily got to watch both games, the Duke game and the Michigan game. The Duke game scared me for a little bit. I was ready
Yeah.
to pencil that in as a W, and I'm just sitting there going, it was just wait. Right, halftime, I think it was 40 something to 20 something.
Yeah,
And you start thinking to yourself, "Oh shit, this is just gonna suck." Right?
yeah,
Duke is gonna do what Duke always used to do, and for some reason, I had UConn winning in my bracket, right, in that matchup, for our house bracket. The prize is winner gets to pick dinner, so hopefully I get to pick
Okay.
dinner with this one. But like I said before, I think the big one comes down to Michigan, Arizona. It's strange to have UConn and Illinois, which is cool, I guess, to have two Big Ten teams, but the matchup is Michigan, Arizona,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's going to be whose defense can beat whose defense, right? So,
Yeah,
ironically, that we talk about defense right now, we have. That's kind of the identifier of the Detroit Pistons, right? Is their
hmm
defense that they play. So I look at this college basketball game, which used to just be straight offense, threes, 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 right? And now you're
yeah,
actually seeing points in the paint. You're seeing defense. It's refreshing, in my opinion.
absolutely. You can only, the league really prized, 3 pointers for a long time, but I think that's kind of. I mean, it's shifting around. The pro leagues and the college leagues, they're prioritizing more offense generated in the paint, which is good. Yeah, that's fine by me. I think it adds a new dynamic to the game. It's definitely it's to me it's more exciting. Seeing the guys actually playing some defense, boxing people out. Driving to the rim and what have you. You see more of that kind of stuff, and perimeter shooting and whatnot. That's all well and good. But I mean, I like to see the battles in the paint a little bit. I like to see guys,
Yeah.
maneuvering back and forth. I like to see a little bit more action. I mean, it's always fun to see your guy drill a couple 3 pointers here and there. But I want maybe a little bit more physicality to my game. That's just me though. I like physical kind of sports. When I get the opportunity to watch them. But
Well, speaking
yeah.
of physical sports, your Red Wings and that Hermdo guarantee of them making the playoffs. I don't know if that was the right thing or not, now, sir.
They looked so good against the Buffalo Sabres, the Eastern Conference leading Buffalo Sabres. And, I mean, if you told me Buffalo was going to win the Atlantic, I probably would have laughed in your face. But
think you
they
did.
have a solid team. They got so many good players. They got Tage Thompson, they got Rasmus Dahlin, they got really solid goaltending. They're just sound up and down. They're leading the Atlantic. They look really good. And, Red Wings are able to put 5 up on them, and then it looked good while doing so. And then the Flyers, everything fell apart. Gibson was a sieve. It just the goaltending situation. They called up what's his name? Not Sebastian Kosa. I want to say
Sebastian
Thomas.
Maniscalco.
Yeah, the other. Yeah, Michael Postava. He's the other guy. I believe he's the Michigan State prospect. But they had, they called him up under emergency conditions. I don't know what the time frame is for Dylan Larkin. I've been paying a little limited attention to the Red Wings. Tigers have been going on, and that's some of my attention's been focused there because I really don't want to be witnessing another late season collapse from the Red Wings. It's bumming me out. But yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look at the standings right now.
Well, you're about to get bummed out, sir, because this is going to be a rough one.
This is going to be. Let's take a look at the standings right now. Wings are now sixth. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are sixth in the division with 86 points. The Sabres are leading with 98 points. Lightning right behind them. Canadians with 94 points in third. Bruins, who beat the Red Wings a few days ago. Senators, we hate the Senators, but they are, they're in fifth place, right above us. Panthers been a big disappointment, but still, we can't beat the Panthers either. So, Red Wings were leading the division for a little while. They looked really good midseason, and now it's just like it's just a spate of injuries, tons of emergency call-ups. They're just not showing up. Just the defensive strategy. It's
kind of done, man. Like it's kind of time to pack it in on this whole Herb no guarantee on the playoffs. I just do.
I think you know what. I think you're probably right. I hate to say it. I've tried to be positive with the Red Wings, but they've just been so disappointing. I think if they crap their pants, now they're still, they still. Let me see. Hold on. I got to do a little bit of Googling here, but yeah, it's just not looking good. It's really a testament to this rebuild kind of stalling out, and you brought this team from a bottom feeder to a bubble team, but it has gone no further. This core, I saw Hitch on. Yeah, how many times have we seen this from the Wings come to end the season? Yeah, this is the third year in a row, Vincent. The third year in a row. I'm getting goddamn tired of it.
Yep.
They're still.
I don't saying, know. Like, what's the if this were our beloved Lions, right, we'd be over it right now.
Yeah, we wouldn't care. It would just be like, that's the Lions. But the Wings have gotten so close. Remember a couple seasons ago, they were like 9 points into a playoff spot, into a wild card spot, and they totally shit their pants in March. The Wings look like they're just.
Well, and how far we've fallen from, what was the record of years we made the playoffs to now we can barely
25 years
get in. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What's it going to take? It's like, come on, man.
I don't know.
Bring the prodigal.
It's going to be more than home. Justin Falk and David Perron. God. I think that's a solid defensive pairing. I liked their trade deadline. They bought for the first time in like 10 years, maybe even longer. They made some shrewd moves. I thought Yzerman, bringing back Perron and whatnot, but it's just not working out. They're giving up too many chances. They're just not solid defensively. It just looks sloppy, just every aspect of the game. And then you got that. Then if they miss the playoffs this year, then you got to start asking the hard questions. Do you think Todd McClellan lasts another season? Are they going to give Yzerman the chance to hire a third coach? After Blashill didn't work out and Lalonde didn't work out, and McClellan, I don't know whatever. He seemed like Todd McClellan. It just seemed like he really had the pulse of the Wings, and it seemed like he really are they tuning him out? What's up with this Wings team? Are they just tuning out coaches? Are they just not listening? Is the situation, how bad is that right now? It's bad.
What do you nitpick about a part of his game? You call him Todd McClellan. It seems like he's the aggressor. And it sounds like when we had. And I guess you'll never compare anybody to Scotty Bowman, but Scotty Bowman was the least of that, right? He was like the quiet, methodical, just almost like a wizard, right? And you're forgetting that was a key element to the Red Wings' success with Scotty Bowman. And without finding a replacement, right, you can put Steve Yzerman in the general manager's spot. And we know how well he did as our captain. and we know what he did in Tampa Bay. But I guess when
Yeah.
it comes down to coaching, you're right. So what's the point? What are you holding on to? Where's the love? But again, like I tell all the other fans, what's your plan? Who's the replacement? Who do you want instead of him?
Yeah. Who do you want to send to Stevie? We could do a show about that. I haven't really looked into it. It's been something that's been on the top of my mind. I was going to make some episodes of Hermdose Hockey Minute about it. But Wings were winning. They were looking good. Look at the Yzerman. The Yzer plan was coming to fruition this season. Looked like they were finally going to break through. But that's how it looked the last couple of seasons. And we all see how that went.
Yep.
But, it's taking a look at McClellan, some of the things he does right, some of the things he does wrong. But, when McClellan arrived, he famously told the team to stop playing, mechanical hockey and just play fucking hockey. Don't mean to curse and swear, but
okay.
It worked immediately. The Wings went, 15-3-1 shortly after his hiring, leading the league in points percentage during that stretch. He's proceeded over a very elite power play. McClellan, he turned the power play into one of the most lethal, jumping from the middle of the pack to second NHL during his first few months. He really played up well to the youth on the team, especially Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider, who took massive steps forward under him, who really cemented themselves as like stars on this team. But yeah, they were a legitimate threat, in the Eastern Division this year. And then things just, the March curse, it just reared its ugly head again. And Wings, they're sliding at the worst possible time. A lot of injuries. That's not McClellan's fault. Guys get injured. That's hockey for you. It's one of those games. Physical sports. You're going to see this kind of stuff often. But it maybe.
No, but, it's not. But you have to compare him to other general or other coaches here in Detroit, right? And how they handle the injuries, how they handle the adversity. We've seen what Dan Campbell's done. We've seen what JB Bickerstaff has done. And I think, why can't we find a JB for the Wings, right? Like, who is that?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody to come in here. I don't know who's out there, who's available right now. I'll have to look more deeply into it. Sorry, I didn't do enough show prep, but
it sounds though Todd McClellan did a nice job at recovering a poor culture, bringing a little life back in. But it sounds like it needs structure. It sounds like it needs some type of guidance and type of captain of the ship. And nothing against him, right? But when we start to see teams slide or not have a strong consistency, you start to look at that as a big factor. We questioned it with. The Tigers and AJ Hinch. Right. And what he did with this last season's team. And, you wanted to see, could you really get that out of him? But I don't know. Something just doesn't sit right with this Red Wing.
No, it does not look good.
We have.
The thing is, the issue is they are very, very reliant. They need an elite goaltender. And John Gibson, he's looked brilliant at times for this season, but I don't know if he's the answer in net. I hate to say it. They just have not really had solid goaltending. We got the Ville Hussos, the Alex Nedeljkovics. We got Cam Talbot, who's like 40. They have not had a really solid answer in net for a long time. It's just, if you want to go back to like Jimmy Howard, maybe, but even he had his limitations. He's one of those guys. He had like one hot playoff series, really, but they need an answer in net. And it's just his aggressive style. He's kind of like a Mike Keenan type coach. Mike Keenan, former coach of the New York Rangers, where he's really aggressive and. It's just we call him Todd McClellan, but that can lead to burnout. That can lead to Scotty Bowman. Darren McCarty famously said 364 days out of the year you hated Scotty Bowman, but on day 365 you raised your Stanley Cup. So it's one of those things you could back it up. Todd McClellan, look, he's a good coach. He's had some success, but he's never won a cup. That's an indictment, unfortunately.
Well, Mike Keenan won a few cups, and he was still voted the biggest asshole.
He was a huge asshole.
To Brett Hull, absolutely just despised him. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But
he chased Wayne Gretzky out of St. Louis.
Yeah.
I just think about it, and it's like, okay, when you compare him to Mike Keenan, it kind of scares me. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Mike Keenan, he still got some hardware. He won it in '94. He was on the '92 Blackhawks too. They lost to the Penguins that year, but I'm sure that Chris Chelios and like Steve Larmer have some. Jeremy Roenick probably has some stories to tell about that guy. But
Oh yeah,
I'm not. I mean, it's not a fair comparison because Mike Keenan was like a next level asshole. But you see
he
kind of
was.
that effect. And McClellan. If you're not winning, then it's just not working right now because these guys, they just look listless, they look dead out there, and it's the penalty kill. We talk about how good the power play is, and this has been an issue for the Wings for a while. Really good power play. Their power play has stepped up. They got good units out there, they got solid units out there, but the penalty kill is just trash. If this team gets into penalty trouble, if somebody goes in the box, there's a very good chance they're going to be down a goal. It's a mess. It's a mess. But he's changed. Detroit has become a little bit more of a destination. He kind of did away with like the culture of losing. But if the Wings blow this, honestly, dude, we were talking in text messages before, and it's just like, I'm going to be leading the charge to get Yzerman out of town. I've been a big Yzerman simp. It's different. It's different for me because I grew up watching the guy. He was one of my heroes in my childhood. So I just, when he came back in 2019, I was so excited. I was jumping up and down. I was like, thank God we got that douchebag Ken Holland out of here. But just Yzer playing, we saw what he did in Tampa Bay. He had different resources then. He had a more complete team back then. He had them in the finals like within like year 4 of the rebuild. And we saw what the success Tampa Bay has had. And that core is still mostly intact. A lot of Yzerman's fingerprints are still on that team. We see how dominant, Tampa's been, but it just has not translated for the Red Wings. I don't know what it is because the Red Wings, they're like, it's the most successful American franchise ever, a storied franchise, and you're about to go year 10 without a cup with, Steve Yzerman as the GM. If you told me, I think we brought this up on the show before, but if you told me that with Steve Yzerman won, or with Steve Yzerman came back as the GM, that the Detroit Lions would win 2 division titles before the Red Wings made the playoffs, I would have thought you were talking shit. I would have thought you were totally insane, but that's where we're at right now.
I'll propose this to you, like everyone proposes this to us about Brad Holmes. Is Yzerman just a scout and not a good GM, right? Because he's good at identifying talent, but he can't run a franchise. So I'll throw that back to the fans. Put that in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair. That's fair. And I was, it just the results speak for themselves. I mean, it's just we see the issues inherent in the team. They're still struggling in all the same ways. This year, maybe you want to give them a little bit of a pass because of the injuries and whatnot, but still, you have no depth. I mean, that's just, you don't have the depth. You don't have the goaltending. This is year 6, year 7, and we're still just falling apart at the end of the season. I mean, it's just, we need a bit of a roster shakeup. Hitch was saying, I think I brought this up earlier, but he was saying we need a full rebuild. I don't know about that, but something's got to change here, and we need to look, we need to start having the conversation. I think as Red Wings fans, I'm ready to start having the conversation. Who replaces Yzerman? We got to start putting that out there. We got to start
names out there.
You got to get some names out there.
I can't.
Who's out there
thinking about this without names, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Feasible names.
Yeah, because we see the results. It's just not good. It's just not good. It's not working. And if they make the playoffs this year, I don't know if Steve Yzerman's going to get fired if they miss the playoffs this year. I mean, it's been 7 years. They have not made the playoffs. Any other GM, look, you have like maybe one, or honestly, you have like one coach, maybe 2 coaches you get to hire before you're out the door. Any other franchise in the league, I have to believe, would boot people out the door. Joe Sakic in Colorado, and he's GM in Colorado, and you see how the success they've had. But if Joe Sakic came back and he went 7 years without getting to the playoffs, they'd sack his ass. Hell, they'd probably sack him a lot earlier than that. Colorado's got a new system in place. But Yzerman, the Yzer plan, it's just like Steve Yzerman's a legend. He's just He's the second best Red Wings player of all time behind Gordie Howe. I mean, the guy he just produced. He's the Red Wings legend. I mean, the guy made Detroit hockey town. He built it up. And you had Lidstrom and Fedorov and Konstantinov and all those guys back then. But I don't want to go into the whole history lesson about the Red Wings because we'd be here for 6 hours. But yeah, it's just like how much.
It's not worth walking down memory lane with that.
No, I'll just get depressed. I'll just get depressed. But how much slack are we willing to cut this guy? Because man, your team has improved, slightly, but you're not getting it done. You're not getting it done. And personally, like if they make the playoffs and you get bounced in the first round, would that be enough to save Yzerman's job? Would that be enough to save not even his job? I just got this feeling that the Ilitches aren't going to be booting him out because he's like, he was like one of the sons of Mike Ilitch, yeah. But it's just, will that be enough for the fans? Like, let's say the Red Wings, because right now they're out of a playoff spot. They're out of a playoff spot right now. But let's take a look. You talk a little bit about, their wild card chances right now. Right now, with the loss to the Flyers, they have slipped out of the second wild card spot. They blew a late, push in the third period. Where they stand right now in the wild card picture, you got Pittsburgh Penguins, 88 points. They're in the wild card 1. You got the Columbus Blue Jackets in the wild card 2. Then you got Ottawa Senators, then the Detroit Red Wings, Philadelphia Flyers right behind them. They gained those critical 2 points on the Wings. And we look at the tiebreaker situation. The Detroit is tied with Ottawa at 86 points. The Senators currently hold the tiebreaker advantage with only 9 games remaining. Your margin of error is 0. You got to go 7-2, 6-3 at the absolute worst. You absolutely have to finish the season strong. And they got 2 more games against the Flyers, April 2nd and April 9th. But that will decide the season because the Flyers are in it too. The Flyers are hungry for that wild card spot. And right now, I mean, looking at that game last night, they're playing with a lot more fire. They're playing with a lot more poise and tact than you are right now. But, it's just last couple seasons, 3 seasons in a row, just not getting it done. But, the pressure now, Steve Yzerman's under big pressure. He bought this year. He brought in Justin Falk to shore up the defense. He brought in David Perron to shore up the top 6. This is I don't know if you consider that going all in. Obviously, if he brought Elias Pettersson or something in here, but that's not the Wings' strategy for right now. But he essentially went all in. All the pressure's on him now. If the Wings can't get this done, if they miss the playoffs for the 10th year in a row, I gotta believe the fans are going to totally jump ship. I gotta believe I will jump. But even if they make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round, I mean, maybe I'll be like, okay, well, at least they got in. But it's just, for me, if they miss again, I'm done. I'm done, man. And you can hold me to that. I will be shit-talking Yzerman. I will be shit-talking. I'll be calling for his head. I'll be calling for McClellan's head. I'll be saying, Dylan Larkin needs to get traded. But it's just, it's ridiculous right now, just the level of mediocrity we've just accepted with this team, and every other team is taking positive steps forward. And the Wings, the most storied franchise in Detroit with 11 Stanley Cups, they were such a dominant force for like 20 seasons, just can't get it done. It's just sad, and I could talk about it for a long time. I'm a big hockey guy,
I know that.
Yeah, but it's garbage. Mark, you see the results. It's garbage. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that this level of hockey. And now we're watching the 3rd March meltdown in a row. And it sickens me as a Red Wings fan. I'm horribly disappointed. And I want some heads to roll. Some people got to get fired. If they miss the playoffs, some people got to get fired. And Steve Yzerman should be on the top of that list. I'm sorry, Stevie. I love you. You were my childhood hero along with Darren McCarty and Chris Osgood. But, brother, you can't get the goddamn job done. You can't get it done. Whatever magic you had in Tampa is gone. If the Red Wings shit their pants again, it's over. It's over, and you got to start looking for another GM. You're probably going to have to tear this thing down again and build it back up again. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know if it's going to be a full tear down or if they're going to just add some pieces here and there. I don't want to be like the New York Rangers, man. I don't want to be like the New York Rangers that started such a good rebuild and now they're like bottom feeders in the league. Same thing with we see other teams in other leagues. We saw the Chicago White Sox, they looked like they were winning 93 games a year, looked poised to, be possibly World Series contenders, and then they fell totally off the face of the earth. I don't want to see that happen to the Red Wings, where they're just like building up to something, and then just through mismanagement, through poor trades, through poor free agency, through just bad management, we see the team completely fall apart. And I can't do it, Mark. Mark, I'm done with this shit, man. But I've ranted and rambled long enough. I'm pissed
that's
off.
Probably about a good 26 minutes straight.
Yeah,
your passionate ramblings of a Detroit.
Are we already
fan.
in for a half hour? Holy shit, dude!
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go that long.
I just kind of let you roll on that one.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad you got that off your chest.
Yes.
On the brighter side of things, though, the Pistons are doing a phenomenal job, i.e., not playing without Cade Cunningham. I don't think anyone thought it could be done. He goes out for a collapsed lung. The timetable seems to be early April, first round playoffs. No worries, no freakouts, no panics. But if anything, all this did was prove to us that it can be done while Cade is out, right? Not that he is not the most important thing to this basketball team, but Jalen Duren has stepped up.
Yes.
Marcus Sasser, Dennis Jenkins, Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris last night with 18 points, right? So the defense has not obviously skipped a beat, but the offense too seems to be just turn and burn, and compliments to JB Bickerstaff, the coach, who set this whole thing up. But it excites me now to think that Cade comes back for the playoffs and the team is already battle tested, and all that does is build their confidence even more. So I see us going into the East and feeling a lot more confident now, which is this last piece of work and body of work that says, hey, even with Cade out, right? Because Boston played for a while without Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. And New York has had their bevy of injuries, right? Where they've been out without their stars, whether it's Cat or Jalen Brunson. But this is really the battle test for Detroit. And I'm really excited. I really am when it comes down to basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. They're performing as well as you possibly could hope. They have not lost a step. We got guys like, the win percentage. They beat the Timberwolves.
They did.
Without Anthony Edwards, granted, but still a win is a win. I'll take that. They are now 9-3. Their win percentage is slightly higher without him, at 75% than with him, which was approximately 72%, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. The Pistons are better without Cade. Narrative has gained some steam on social media. Analysts point out it's more a testament to the roster's improved depth and JB Bickerstaff's coaching than any shortcoming of Cade's. I don't even want to touch that, man. I don't even want to touch that. Come on. Cade is the beating heart of this team, for fuck's sake.
He's the beating heart of it, but when it comes down to it, it's nice to know that he plays such a selfless role that the Lakers without Kobe are a different team. The Bulls without Jordan are a completely constructed team, right? When you look at Detroit, it looks like there is a blueprint that JB Bickerstaff has for an organization, and Cade Cunningham does his job, and he just performs at such a high level that you almost take it for granted when he's in there of what he's doing. But you see it where he does not have to be the leading scorer for us to win. That's not how this offense is set up.
Yeah.
Right? You look at some of these teams where like I said, Lakers without Kobe, the Jordan, the list goes on. But I just really like to see not only are we 1 year ahead of the rebuild, 1 year ahead of the expectations of this whole team, but we're battle tested without Cade. That just says so much.
That just says so much. That this says, I think this team is poised to go on the deep run. I think this team is doing, we said it, the royal we. Thank you, Bobby. Hobby for Bobby, again, chiming in. But we see people stepping up. We see Jalen Duren, obviously. He averaged like 26 points in like 8 games without Cade. Right now, he's averaging, 12.2 rebounds in those games. Without Cade's high usage playmaking, Duren has become more of the focal point on the offense. A lot of it rests on him. He's the number 2 on the team. without Cade, the pressure is on him to perform. He's been doing an amazing job. Jalen Duren, hats off to the guy. He's been absolute. I take my hat off, but I don't want anybody to know I'm balding. But still, but then you got Dennis Jenkins, a backup guard, huge revelation. Recently dropped a career high 30 points in the win over the Lakers. That was, the Lakers had won 9 straight games at that point, and the Pistons were like, nope, you're done. You're done, Luka. You're done, Bron. We're tired of your shit. We're taking you down a peg. And Dennis Jenkins is going to put the final nail in your coffin. Fuck LeBron. Retire, bitch. But, Tobias Harris, too. He's provided, he's the safety valve. Consistently hitting double figures.
And very, 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 I don't want to say taken advantage of, because during the trade talks, everybody was like, trade Tobias, right?
Yeah,
everyone's ready to move Tobias, but everyone forgets what Tobias brings from the 3-point stance, from the big man stance, from just the leadership stance of him being an older player that's kind of been on some teams. So, leave Tobias Harris alone, man. I think he's been, everybody on this team is just where they need to be, right? Duncan Robinson's where he needs to be. I'm a big proponent in Ron Holland. I'm really, really excited to see where Ron Holland's games.
Everybody's unselfish. Yeah. Everybody's unselfish. That was a clinic the boys in Maize and Blue put on. Best I've ever seen since the likes of Jim Scala, Milt Mead, Leo Vanderkoy, and MC Burton Jr. Oh, Lord, there's Herb going old school on us. But, yeah, that was a slaughter. Back when we got free cigarettes, now everyone is gay. You know what? I think if more people smoked cigarettes, homosexuality would disappear. We would all be based chads. We would all be getting mad pussy. We would all be skinny. Like, that would be good. Mark, I see you agree with that. But, yeah. But let's just getting back in the Pistons for one quick second. I got 2 more points I want to hit. But this defense hasn't lost a step. Still second in the league. Defensive rating 109.5. The defensive floor allows them to stay in games. Even when the offense loses, Cade, a guy like Cade, who is a massive, contributor. And then we got playmaking. The team's assist numbers take a slight dip without Cade, who is averaging 10 points. So that's obviously an issue. Obviously, that's going to happen. But, they've compensated. They have a more egalitarian, move the ball approach, more transition scoring. JB Bickerstaff is able to adjust the team. He's able to get performances out of these guys. If they're unselfish players, they're playing for each other. It's an exciting brand of basketball. I think this team's going far. Team's going far. And when Cade comes back, he's going to be rip-roaring, ready to go. He'll be rested. Hopefully his lungs are okay. Don't do any more vaping, Cade. I promise. That wasn't the cause of his collapsed lung, but I'm just being silly. But
you put that out there, though. That was
I feel bad about that. I feel bad about that.
Well, you shouldn't feel bad, because Kevin Huerter's worked out really well. Yeah. And everybody kind of, knocked that whole trade deadline move. Do we do anything to get better? And Kevin Huerter seems to be that guy. He's that 3-point shooting, still playing his defense, right? He's doing everything you want him to do. And he's a ginger, which is even better.
Yes, you got to have the ginger power on the team. That's how teams succeed. But yeah, I can only feel some of this is from Hitch to Smoking Hand. I can only feel some of my veins and parts of the thumb every time you guys go live. I think Hitch dies a little inside and takes it onto me, and the liver. Oh, Hitch, take it easy on the Rolling Rock and the Marlboros, man. We need you, buddy. Yeah. We need you to come back on the show for 2 minutes with a potato quality camera, say 3 words that we can hear, and then disappear again for another 6 months. We need you, Hitch. Hitch just had a birthday. If you're watching Hitch, happy birthday. We should celebrate. We should do something for Hitch's birthday. I should have brought it up earlier, but Hitch and John, his wonderful brother, both having birthdays. They're both 41 years old. They're well into their 40s. They're old men now. Yeah.
You had to toss out the age there.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, but it's true. I'm 42. It's okay. We all get old. Mark's getting old too. It's okay. He looks better than I do, though. I'll give him that. Mark, what's your skincare routine, buddy? But what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, we're talking about Pistons. How happy we are with.
Yeah, we got a little derailed. But it comes down to, the disappointing Red Wings,
Yes.
the overexciting Pistons, and then you have the
Yes.
Tigers, right? So we can't forget the
Yes.
Tigers. They have their little opening day excursion in San Diego. Kevin
Mhm.
McGonigal, he goes 4 for 5. He looks to be one of the best bats right now coming out of the we'll call it the rookie class this year
Yes.
in the MLB. It's a little different than some of the other leagues, but I kid, and I sent you a thing that said, 162 games, McGonigal's going to bat 800, 300 RBIs, but he looks to be the real deal, man. He really
He looks
does.
good.
He looks really good. He's going to
Yeah.
obviously put on some size. He's going to put on some strength. He's going to put on
Yeah.
some knowledge. He's going to be it'll be scary to see what he is in 3 years.
I think
right?
so. I think
But
so.
it's good homegrown talent that is a bat, something we've been asking for.
He's going to grow into himself. He's going to be, but you see the poise at the plate. You see he's taking some good at bats. You see defensively. Now he was at third for game 2 against the Padres. He let a couple balls get away from him. He didn't. His fielding was a little off. That's okay. It happens. I mean, when you're on the hot corner, anything could happen. Not everybody's going to be out there.
Sometimes it's just better if you knock them down.
Yeah, just knock him down. Just get the ball to the plate. It happens sometimes. I'm not. He's a baby. He's a tiny little baby. He's a baby tiger. I'm not worried about him. But it's just we see it at shortstop. He looks really good. He's made some really good defensive catches. Really locking down that infield. I think he's probably best. Colt Keith, the tandem. Colt Keith and McGonigal, and get Gleyber Torres on second. I think that's probably going to be. There'll be platooning, AJ Hinch will mix things up, but I think McGonigal's probably, I mean, he's going to be your starting shortstop. And I made a Hermdo guarantee McGonigal would start, even though that's pretty much the worst kept secret in Detroit Tigers baseball this last year. But I like what I saw from McGonigal, especially game 2, coming through in the clutch, bases loaded. He gets that hit, critical hit, gets the runs home. Game 3, that was a mess. The strike zone was really wide. I don't know who the ump was. It was just goofy. There was a few ball 4s that got missed in that game, but it's just like Flaherty
gives you more of a reason to understand why Flaherty's overpaid. I've never been a big fan of his.
No,
he's probably the weakest link of this bullpen this starting rotation.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see JV have some stronger outings where Flaherty starts getting moved down a peg. Right?
You're going to see. Yeah, I'd like to see what Casey Mize can bring to the table.
Yeah,
I'd like to see what JV can bring to the table if he can. I mean, if he has anything left in the tank, I'm sure he does, but that's a big, but, Framber Valdez and Tarek Skubal being your number 1 and number 2, that's pretty damn good. Hitch turns into Keith Primo when he drinks. Oh, Jesus. That's a throwback. That's a throwback. Good Lord. But anyways, thank you for the comment, whoever that was. I don't know if it was Hitch's Smoking Hand or Herb Welch. Hitch's Smoking Hand. Thank you, Hitch.
Yeah, we haven't heard from Herb Welch in a few minutes. We'll see.
Herb Welch, yeah. We'll be seeing Hobby from Bobby as well. Hobby for Bobby. But what the hell were we talking about? Oh, yeah. But, in that game, their offense, looked kind of terrible. They just couldn't get things done. Vasquez was eating them up, and Vasquez is really no great shakes,
Yep.
It's just the same thing where it was a big problem plaguing them last year. These kind of middle of the road, kind of mediocre right-handers were just shutting them down all year last year. I don't know what it is about this offense, but it kind of concerns me. I mean, if you can't hit mediocre right-handed pitching, and those were pitches to the outside, they were chasing them. It was just, there's a few balls obviously that didn't get called, but that new ABS
you called
system,
it. It's pretty much the weakness of last year, right? We saw this where they would go on these tears, and then they would come against these mediocre matchups that should be an easy W, right? And especially for the excitement that we got last year with the clubhouse, and they just become flatline. They're lucky if they get 2 hits. They're lucky. It's just a strikeout, a palooza. It's a pop out fest, right? It's errors. It's just like, what are you doing? And then you see the matchups, the big matchups. Those are, ironically, the ones that are winning. So it is exciting, but guys, we have to keep and remind ourselves that we're like 4 games into 162 game season. So
Mhm.
everybody just calm your horses down.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Still, you go into San Diego on the road, you take 2 or 3 from a team with
Yep.
Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis and that kid Herb Nowitzki's about to beat the shit out of Charlemagne the God on Breakfast Club. Can I see that post again?
You sure can.
Pre-show, the Breakfast Club. Do I look that? I don't follow Charlemagne the God. Doesn't he have a show with Andrew Schultz, that douchebag comedian? I know Charlemagne. He's like a broadcasting legend, but I don't know
if he's with Schultz now. Schultz has his podcast that I used to listen to for a little bit, but then it just got a little too much.
I was just
a little too much.
I'm not a big
screaming
podcast
and yelling.
guy. Yeah, Schultz he's I don't know. I never really got into his brand of comedy. I know he's like in that Rogan sphere. We need more leaders like Stan Musial. Absolutely, absolutely.
Stan Musial was from what was that, the St. Louis Cardinals?
Yes,
right?
Cardinals.
Yes, yes, Herb. Thank you. Yes, your post World War II comments are always appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a couple more points on the Tigers want to hit. It's just like we're 3 games into the season. You take 2 or 3 out of the San Diego Padres, who have a very dangerous lineup.
Yep.
And that's a winning situation. Now they're going to be playing the Diamondbacks in Arizona. Got some late starts. I'm not probably going to be able to watch them. I did, we were talking about this. I did buy the Tigers TV package.
Did you?
$20 a month. Yeah, I'm watching it on my. I was watching it on my TV last night. I had to use my phone because the app didn't work on my TV. So I got it to work. I got it to work eventually.
Good.
I was able to watch the game, but me and my dad were watching it together, and we're just kind of like, we turned it off in like the 7th inning. They just weren't getting it done. Flaherty looked,
Flat.
he looked. And he kind of bounced back in the 3rd, but by the 5th, you could tell he was really oily. He was really greasy. I was judging his performance by how greasy Jack Flaherty looked, and he looked really greasy. He looked like he was ready to slide across the mound. Ty Cobb is the ideal father figure for those young rap kids. Ty Cobb. We gotta love Ty Cobb. 1910s baseball. Back in the golden age.
It's back when Herb was in elementary school with Hitch back then.
Yes, way back in the day. That was Hitch's. Yeah. He graduated high school when Ty Cobb was on the Tigers. But yeah, good old Ty Cobb, very tolerant and kind man, loved all races of people. He was very leftist, very progressive. We love Ty Cobb, but progressive hero Ty Cobb.
Cobb last spotted at the No Kings rally.
Yes, he was holding the sign up. He was chanting about Trump. Ty Cobb would have hated Trump. He would have hated racist, fascist Trump. Absolutely. He would have been a resistance leader. He would have been wearing a pink pussy hat in 1912 at Briggs Stadium. But what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. A couple more points. Okay. My dad used to wind up on me around 7th inning, but it made a man out of me. Everyone is too soft. Yeah. So we need some fatherly abuse. We need to beat the shit out of our kids. Your kid's playing too much Fortnite. Your kid's hanging out with the tablet too much. You got to take the tablet, whack them over the head with it. You got to show them who's boss. You got to make sure they go outside. Lock the doors. Don't let them back inside the house until like 3 a.m. They'll have to
hose water. They should only be drinking hose water.
Only drinking hose water. You have them take showers outside. Just blast them with the hose and hand them a bar of soap and let them take care of business. Yeah, but Tigers. A solid series. There's some concerns about the offense a little bit, but we're still so early into the season. We just see, but the way this team is built, you were really relying on the farm-grown talent. There's really no big free agency hitters on this team. Matt, like guys like Matt Vierling, you still got guys like him in the lineup. Matt Vierling just looked lost. He looked like he didn't want to be there. I know he's been out since last August. He's got a lot of rust. And the
magic of this lineup, though, Hermdo and I bitched about it last year, is that nobody's hitting for close for average. So you're having a bunch of 220, 230, 240 at best hitters.
Yeah.
Being kind of scattered into these ideal lineups, right, that AJ Hinch gets to play with and does very well at doing so. But that's where you have to expect this team, right? You're going to have to wait for the Colt Keats and the Kerry Carpenters to get hot and the substitutions and the endless guys that they're going to be calling up, like you said, from the farm system. This is not going to be a team where you pencil in the same starting lineup every week.
No,
every day. It's just going to be a continuation of moves. and it's gonna work, right? It's we saw it last year, but god damn, dude. Spencer Torkelson better raise that average and better hit some
Yeah.
homers. And Riley Green is going to do what Riley Green does, but somebody has to come to the calling. Somebody has to answer that. Somebody has to say,
Yeah.
I'm going to step up and I'm going to try and hit 270 and be a little bit
Yeah.
more consistent for this team. And I'm waiting for that to see who that person's going to be.
It's going to be Jahmai Jones without the
Okay.
mustache this time.
Okay.
But Jahmai Jones, funnily enough, hit 287 in 72 games last year. So, I mean, he was kind of a revelation there. I don't know if he's going to be, he's probably just another like Quentin Berry type, just a guy that kind of a flash in the pan. But
oh, Jesus.
I think if I had to roll for him, he's probably just going to be a pinch hitter. But he's one of those guys. Detroit Tigers fans love those kind of guys. We love
They
the
do.
Quentin Berries. We love these guys that come out of nowhere and
Yep.
just, like the Nephew Perez's, the Timo Perez's, all these guys that come out of nowhere, contribute a little bit, and then we fall in love with them. But yeah, I think, Jahmai Jones is the new guy that Tigers fans are going to love. But yeah, there's some issues, here and there. We worry about rotational depth, besides the first two. But we haven't seen Casey Mize and Justin Verlander yet. So we're 3 games into the goddamn season. But there's a couple, just like some of the offensive issues. I think everything will work itself out. This team is really, really good. We're going to be adding more people in. Maybe we'll see a glimpse of Max Clark probably towards September. Oh, there's one thing I want to say about Max Clark. I saw this video on YouTube. They're talking about this guy, Max Clark. He's wearing his bling. He was out in center field wearing 4 diamond chains. He's on social media talking about how he's a baller, how he's a gamer, doing all this shit, and he's out there fucking up. He's some of these defensive miscues. He's losing the ball in the sun. His feet are slipping when he's throwing the ball. You can't zero in on the baseball out in the outfield. He's looking absolutely clumsy out there. And he's still, don't get me wrong, Max Clark, he's the number 10 prospect in all of baseball. Probably be a little bit higher by the end of the year, but Max Clark, you got to dial in,
leave
buddy.
alone. You hit hard in the on the TikTok and the YouTube and in the social media with your take on Max Clark, and everyone just kept saying he's young, leave the kid alone. He's young, leave the kid alone.
He's Kevin McGonigal Rookie of the Year. He might be. But let's dial it back a little bit. But more on Max Clark. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, just I think
my Tigers Kool-Aid.
Yeah, absolutely. But Max Clark, you got to knock this shit off, man. I know he's a young guy. I know they want to leave Max Clark alone, but you got to dial it in, man. You got to dial it in. No, people on TikTok are going to be mad at me for saying that. I love Max Clark. I think he's going to be a bright young star. He's going to be the future center fielder for this team. He's going to light things up. He's a damn good prospect. But he needs to start being humble. We got to make these kids humble. Somebody in this organization needs to take him aside and say, hey, knock it off with these fucking chains. Knock it off with this fucking ego shit. That's just me. I'm an old boomer. I'm 40 years old. I'm twice the age of Max Clark. I probably, I'm. It's getting to the point where I could probably these kids. I would have been like these kids' fathers. I'm getting to that age now. But
yeah, I mean, it'd be a little scary if you had a kid already currently in the pros at your tender age of 40. I'd wonder what you were doing in high school, or even where it began to the start of middle school. But I'd have a lot of questions here, regardless to say. But I know what you mean, right? You take a look at some people that we grew up with. I don't know if you remember Mr. Schubert. He was a teacher at our high school.
Yeah, Mr. Schubert. Yeah.
His son was born in 2004, so he would have been the year we graduated, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the year his son was born. He is a professional baseball player right now for the Cleveland Guardians.
Holy
it's
shit.
kind of crazy to think that while we were getting our history lessons and his dad was having his first kid, he's now a professional baseball player. So
that's
congratulations to him too. That's pretty badass, right? But like, the thing is you're right. And I look at guys like Max Clark and I appreciate their youth, their excitement, their swag, right? Griffey had a ton of swag. Jordan had swag, but it really didn't always have to come down to jewelry. It could come down to just the attitude that they played with, but also they performed at a high level. So let's see what this kid does. I mean, he's all hype right now, and in the game of baseball, that can change really quick. And that's the one thing I think we're excited. I know Vincent said in there, right? Like he said act like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And I agree, but McGonagall knows he's supposed to be there. His
Yeah.
swing, Hermdo, is phenomenal. Can we
His swing
talk
looks
about
damn
his
good.
swing that we've missed for a really long time here in Detroit, where it's almost it's too clean. It's such a clean swing.
Yeah. It's beautiful, just the way he takes those pitches, good at bats, clean bat motion. Looks like he looks like a pro already. I mean,
He does.
some kids are shaky. I mean, McGonagall looks like he's ready. He looks every bit, the star we're making him out to be. I don't want to set my expectations too high. I don't want to start saying rookie of the year with 3 games into the goddamn season, but I'm really loving what I'm seeing from the kid.
Yeah. It's hard
I
not
think-
to, though, man.
Yeah, it's really a reason to be excited. We got a lot of young stars in this team. We got Cade on the Pistons. We remember when he was drafted, that was fun. We got guys like, Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider on the wings. We got, guys on the Lions. You got young guys, Jameer Gibbs and Amara St. Brown is still pretty young. We got guys, like they're just a lot of young talent on this team. A lot of guys in their early to mid-20s, real young guys, really exciting players, superstar caliber guys. And Kevin McGonagall will be among them, I believe. I believe he's going to be one of those guys. I think he can be. Now, no offense to Torque, but I think maybe McGonagall can have some better tools than Torque does, because we know how highly Torque was touted. And look, Torque can still get you 30 home runs a year. He's still a solid guy. He's still a solid player. He plays a great first base, but I think maybe there could be with McGonagall, there could be more upside. With
this
that
just
guy,
takes the pressure off of Torque. Torque kind of came here with his first pick, really thought he was going to just charge this whole offense. And we've seen what Torque can do. We know what a Torque bomb looks like. We like the guy. I don't think anybody dislikes him, but it takes that pressure off, right? And it gives a little dynamic to this team that, in any years that we had, right, you had multiple players that identified with this team. Like even in the Miggy days, you had Miggy, you had Verlander, you had V-Mart, you had Carlos Guillen. You had a lot of names that kind of like formulated this offense. Like, right, it wasn't a one-man show, and in baseball isn't. So, I just took a look at some of the rookie of the year odds, and McGonagall's already leading the trades with like plus 400 right now.
Beautiful.
But that was a couple of days ago, and like you said, it's going to change. But he takes the pressure off of Torque. He takes the pressure off of Riley Green to be just consistent.
Yeah.
But now, where does he fit in this lineup, right? He's obviously not a leadoff hitter.
No.
What is he, your number 4? He's not your power hitter.
He started 6th. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to kind of see how he earns himself to climb up the lineup and identify who he really is. Because that, again, we took for granted back in those days where those lineups were almost automatic in the Jim Leland eras, where, you and I could put out any of those Tigers in any form of a lineup and it was going to succeed. But nowadays it's going to be the magic of the substitution, bringing in that left-handed hitter in the bottom of the 6th inning, right? That AJ Hinch always does so well, or bringing in that one pinch runner who ends up changing the game. So I'm excited for this year. It's going to be a fun year for baseball.
It very much is. Very much is. Last year started good, ended on a bad note, but and the year before that started bad, ended up on a good note. So we
saw that with the Pistons, right?
Yes.
Great year. We went to the playoffs. Obviously, we was a heartbreaker in New York, and then this season starts off, and it's just been phenomenal. Where you could start making lots of claims for Azar Thompson to get some accolades, Cade Cunningham for an MVP, Jalen Duran for God knows what, right? There's going to be a 6th man a year award for a Pistons player real soon. So I don't know. I'm really excited. And I think, unfortunately, the Wings have taken the brunt of this. They're on the down out of all the teams that we have right now. And then, I think we'll not mention our blue football team, but they're on the hot seat. Let's just say that they're on the hot seat.
Yep. Won 4 straight NBL league titles in the 1940s, alongside dominating the World Professional Basketball Tournament. Okay.
Oh, I think we forgot the first part about this.
Oh, you turncoat Seymour commentary in the prime years of the Pistons. All that jargon about the bad boys. One of the greats, Curly Armstrong, Herm Schaefer. That was back when they were in Indiana, I think.
Yeah, the
Jeez
Fort
Louise.
Wayne Pistons.
Yeah. Good Lord.
You know, Herb Welch brings up a good point though, because Curly Armstrong, good old Curly Armstrong, was probably one of the most formidable players of the NBL.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows the guy. I got his jersey for God's sake.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Your dad always
yeah.
talked about Mr. Armstrong, Mr. Curly Armstrong.
We're
So,
getting
thank you,
derailed by
Herb
the
Welch.
chatters. That's okay.
Yes,
though.
it's okay though.
That's okay. That's
We're
we
in that
love
one
that. We
hour.
love
We're
the
in that
chatters.
1 hour mark, man, and we love everybody. We also want to remind everybody to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe to this channel. If you watch it, if you like what you hear, buy a hoodie. We'll give you a hoodie. If we get to 500 subscribers,
Please.
Mark will drive, Mark, and Hitch will drive to your house. We will give you a hoodie. We will stay for dinner. Your wife will cook for us.
Yes.
Hitch will drink all of your beer and smoke all of your cigarettes.
Yep.
And then we will we will leave an upper decker in your toilet and walk out, and it'll be great. You'll be able to tell all your friends, "Hey, I'm at the Detroit Fan Forum, boys." Plus Hitch. So,
well, all kidding aside, Hermdo, yes, the sooner we get to 500, the quicker somebody gets a free hoodie. So,
yes.
Like the video, subscribe. At this point, just hit the button. You know, find me a Russian bot farm for all I care. Get us to 500, guys. We need to get to 500 subscribers. That seems to be where YouTube starts to throw you a little bit more respect, right?
You become a partner, yeah.
Yeah, you become a strong partner, and we're looking for a partnership here. We're looking for like our own NATO, right? So help us join a digital NATO. That I will eventually try and back out of many years after.
Absolutely. But, you know, for right now, we're enjoying ourselves.
Yep.
We are having fun.
We're
hopefully making people laugh and making people think. I'm trying to be funny. Man, you guys don't want to know what Hitch is doing right now. I think I know.
Mm-hmm. We know. But yeah, all kidding aside, thank you for the love. Thank you for liking and subscribing.
Yes.
You know, we tried to do a little bit of everything tonight. We start off with Michigan in the Final Four, right? I talked a little bit about bracket busters. I have Michigan winning both of my brackets. Ironically, one of them I picked Duke, one of them I picked UConn. So I thought this would be a Michigan UConn rematch from years ago. I still think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the callback. I think the best game of the year, like we talked about, is going to be Michigan, Arizona. UConn, I think, is going to stomp Illinois. Don't really see much coming out of that portion of the bracket. Personally, my whole bracket got screwed up in the South. But for Illinois to come out of the South and win is pretty cool. But still, dude, this is going to come out of whoever wins the Michigan-Arizona game wins the whole thing. I hope it's Michigan. I really do. I think that what they're playing right now is probably one of the best teams that we've seen. Linderborg is one of the best players in college basketball right now. He's just unselfish player, and that's one of the identifying factors that we have with our Mr. Cunningham. He's an unselfish player. Right? He can generate 25 assists as much as he can generate 35 points. So a big key element in his game. And, you know, that's a team effort, right? Michigan, what they're doing right now is all across the board. What Dusty May's got them doing is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then you start to look at Michigan State, and you start to feel bad for Tom Izzo because he's one of the best college basketball coaches ever to coach the game. But, man, you just hate to see how that team just kind of flatlined.
Yeah. There was just, you know, and then Tom Izzo, like, kind of famously, he was saying, like, people would say, "Are you going to retire? Are you going to retire?" He's just like, "Nope." You know, I mean, one thing about Tom Izzo, you know, he just sticks with it. Yeah. You know, he's always ready to go to work every single year.
Yep.
He's dragging his team back to relevance, and you never know what the Spartans are going to do. But the guy's an absolute legend. You know, I got, you know, and even if I'm not the biggest Spartans fan, I'll always have respect for a guy like Tom Izzo. He just shows up. He takes care of business. He gets the most out of his players. Yeah. People are falling over. His players would walk through fire for him. Tom Izzo is a legend to me. Absolutely. He's a legend to Spartans fans around the world. You know, the guy just gets the job done. Hate to see the Spartans go out like that. You know,
look what he's done with Big Ten basketball. I mean, he's the reason why we have a natty in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
That Michigan State team, which is crazy to think about. How
long Cleaves, baby.
Oh my lord, he does not do well with hookers and hotel
No,
rooms.
no, he does
Um,
not.
he
Draymond
handles them.
Green too, another weirdo.
Yeah, they all handle hookers poorly, but they play good basketball in college.
Yes, they
Apparently,
do. They do.
but
They do.
I look at that and I think, wow, that's pretty impressive considering with the teams that Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue that we've turned out of the Big Ten in the last 25 years, and his Spartans are the only ones that have got a natty. So, I mean, you
Yeah.
got to put him up there with one of the best basketball coaches ever to coach the game. You
Yep.
really have to, and give him his flowers. He deserves every ounce of it. And even though I am a Michigan fan, you almost want Michigan. Obviously, Michigan wins this year, great. And then, God, just want Michigan State to win one before Tom Izzo fully retires because
Yeah.
it's hard not to like everything about that guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, the guy is just
hard.
He's a consummate professional. He's a
Yeah.
class act.
There's
I
nothing
gotta
bad
believe
you can say about him.
No, you really can't say enough good things about the guy. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like, it pains me as a Michigan fan. It's just like, I gotta give him his props. I absolutely have to give him his props. I think Tom Izzo, excuse me, but damn it, but it's just one of those things. It's just like he's gonna be coaching into his
You all right?
80s. Yeah. Oh, just I swear to
Getting
God,
a
I
little
cough more.
verklempt about Tom Izzo.
I am. I'm getting very sad, very sad. But yeah, I think he's going to be coaching into his 80s. They're going to be wheeling him out there in a hospital bed. He's going to have his IV in there. He's going to have the hospice nurse. He's going to be drawing up plays on his tablet, with his gnarled old man hands. But they're going to have to drag him out of Spartan. They're going to have to drag him off the court. I mean, there's no way Tom Izzo's retiring anytime soon. He's just too committed. He's just too committed, and we can respect that. We respect what Tom Izzo has done for this program, for the Big Ten also. So, yeah.
For the Big Ten, it's been huge, and obviously for Michigan State because they've had some dark days in football. Right, the D'Antonio era was a glisten of hope, and then that faded away. But he really has been the identity of Michigan State athletics, and it's a bummer that he hasn't won another natty, right? You look at guys like Jim Harbaugh, right, what he did for the state of Michigan and the University of Michigan, and he got his natty, whether you like to believe it or not. If you're not cheating, you're not winning in college football, as I say.
That's the way to do it.
You're not the SEC before NIL.
Or you can buy a title like Indiana.
Oh my Lord. And that's what they did, right? And
yeah,
how cool is that to see that you can legally go out and buy a title because the follow through, right? It's going to be what Kurt Signetti is going to do after everybody sees he doesn't have Mendoza, right? So
we'll see.
Either way,
it's going to be another Ed Orgeron,
Oh, Jesus Christ. Ed Orgeron, great recruiter, right?
Oh,
yeah. Coach, but great recruiter.
Look good with Joe Burrow. But, it's just one of those things. We see, it's how crazy would it be for, Michigan basketball to win a natty 3 years after, Michigan football won a natty, a contested natty. But, it's one of those things that would be absolutely massive for the school, absolutely massive for the program. And, one thing about Michigan, one thing about college football, when's the last time Big Ten teams won 3 natties in a row? It's Michigan, Ohio State, now Indiana. When's the last time when's the last time 3, Big Ten won 3 in a row? I mean, I'm hard pressed to remember it.
Now you're starting to figure out why the SEC was so against NIL. I mean, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even when it comes to college basketball, right? Florida was doing a really good job of winning some natties, and I don't know. The ACC also does a really good job with college basketball, but that's
absolutely
a story. It's really awesome to see. You also wonder who's next. Who's the next Cinderella story, if you want to use that term? Who's the next Indiana? Who's the next up and coming? Right? Who's going to go out and say, "Here's $50 million. Go get me a natty."
Yeah.
What school, right? But it's funny. We saw that with some Oregon teams, right, becoming a rising star. We saw it with Boise State for a while too. So it's not like even before in college football it never happened. It's just now you can be pretty transparent about how to go about it, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And adds a new dimension to the sport. I mean, Indiana wasn't also ran pretty much its entire existence, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're national championships. It's the champions. It's kind of crazy. You think about it, just kind of leveling the playing field. And you see SEC teams kind of taking a step back. Big Ten is dominant now. But nothing good lasts forever.
Nope.
We see the power shifts, power changes, other teams get advantages, dominant teams fade into the distance. I don't know what's coming next for like Alabama and LSU and stuff like that, but they'll probably start spending money again. But who knows? Maybe they'll get in on this NIL stuff. But right now, it's leveling the playing field. I'd like to see a team. You know what? It's the funniest thing. I'd like to see Rutgers take a run at it, spend like $60 million putting a team together, get some coach
going right now for Rutgers.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let the Scarlet Knights win one, for God's sake. They haven't won shit, but birthplace of college football, but they haven't won shit. But
that brings up a good point though, because really, I mean, if you're I don't know, you're $500 million from being at a full billion. I mean, once you hit your first billion, Hermdo, I feel like that's where your money should go. That's where some of your money laundering, some of your tax write-off money should go, is right to Rutgers. So for any of you billionaires out there that are looking to start up a fun program, be a booster, let's go to Rutgers. Let's
why
start
not?
this method of bring a natty to Rutgers. I love the
bring a
idea.
natty to Rutgers. Hell yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Well, listen, we've hit our 1 hour mark, which
Yes.
we usually kind of try to cap off due to things getting very strange after 1 hour.
Yes.
We've covered Michigan, we've covered the Red Wings, we've covered the basketball situation from college all the way to the pros. We probably even talked a little bit about high school basketball, but Kevin McGonigal, Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Is there anything we've forgotten? Anything you want to bring up before we sign off?
We didn't do our usual 20-minute segment of defending Brad Holmes. I think that's
true.
Yeah. When
That is
the
true.
dude or whoever's in the chat, he has not shown up tonight, unfortunately, but I'm good. I think we talked about it via text, and I think more buying transfers. Hell yeah. But I think I'm happy. I think we covered all the bases. I think we've had a very good show. I think we've had a very enlightening show. I think people have learned a lot. I think we have both learned a lot. I think we have done a very good job tonight, and I'm very proud of us.
I am too. And I want to just thank that MSU Detroit fan who just jumped in the chat. Hopefully you've liked and hopefully you subscribed, right? He said Pistons really injured going into tomorrow's game. Let's I'm going to bring that up real quick.
Yeah.
More buying transfers. Yes, that's what you do in college basketball, right?
Yep.
If you want to get to the Big Ten or you want to get to a D1 school, they're recruiting kids out of JUCO, right? That's everything this is transfers. It's transfer. It's no longer do you commit to a program. So it is what it is. As far as Pistons being injured, we've got he says Tobias, Duncan, Azaro, questionable, still no Cade. Listen, we talked about this. This team is battle tested. I feel like, and I don't want to get too cocky, but when you have the emergence of Kevin Huerter and Marcus Sasser, you're at the down end stretch of the season, and you're putting these guys as questionable because of a tweaked knee or a tweaked finger, you're going to get through these games. I don't know. I'm not worried about the Pistons. I'm not.
No,
I really feel like they have the right energy. Going into this whole playoff situation. So I could be wrong. Hey, we'll find out about it. We're going to go and we'll talk a lot more basketball, a lot more Pistons this coming week. We're going to get back to doing our weekly midweek live or episode, whatever. We're going to put a little bit more content out now that the sports are rolling back. So make sure you've liked, make sure you subscribed, make sure you hit the notification button so you know when we go live. We go live every Sunday at 7:30. We're also going to be going midweek as well. And when there's big things, right, there's about to be a lot of big moments in sports, whether the Pistons win the first round of the playoffs and we go live to celebrate, right? Whether Hermdo gets his leather suit, his whole Detroit Red Wings leather suit,
My
just to say,
gimp
guys,
suit.
exactly, and he wants to come on stage, right? So,
Yes.
I don't know. That's just where I see.
Yeah. Isaiah's maybe he was cleared to return. My biggest problem with tomorrow is we playing OKC and they gave us a big scare a month ago when they had no SGA, Chet, and Jay Will. I'm not that worried. To pick off on what you said, Mark, if it was a situation like the Red Wings where you're desperately trying to get into a playoff spot and your whole starting lineup is hurt and you got a bunch of guys from like the G League in there, like, okay, maybe you could press the panic button. Pistons got this thing unlocked. I'm not worried.
We know the West is good.
Yeah, we know
the West is
good.
really good. San Antonio, OKC, right? I don't want to. I mean, whatever. Denver, like the path to the NBA Cup championship is the West, right? So if we're gonna battle these Western Conference teams, it is what it is. But my thing is, we've held our own in the East. I'm just rolling it, man. I'm sorry, but MSU Detroit fan, hey, I appreciate your comment.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks for commenting. Absolutely. I understand if you're concerned. Me and Mark, honestly, I'm not that worried about it. I think I speak for Mark here. The Pistons got this thing unlocked. I'm not too concerned. They're number one in the East. They're probably going to start resting guys here and there, as long as they keep that 1 seed or whatever. But it's something I'm concerned about going forward. Everybody should be good for the playoffs. We're going to get Cade back hopefully soon, but we see what this team can do without him. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the Detroit Pistons. They're guaranteed to get in the playoffs. We're just these last few handful of games. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe seeding might be a factor in there, but I'm really not worried about it. JB Bickerstaff knows what he's doing. It's not a problem. I'm
Great
not worried.
Coach. Should be coach of the year.
Honestly, he should have won it last year.
I agree, but this is their year even better. I mean,
absolutely.
He came out, even made more of a stance and more of an argument for it. So I don't even know who won it last year, but either way, whatever.
Who cares?
Who cares?
I don't care if it's a Detroit guy.
Yeah.
But but go Pistons, go Tigers, go Red Wings. Please, Red Wings, just go away. We don't like you anymore. Go Lions, go Spartans, go Wolverines, go everybody, every team, every sport. Whatever. You can throw the West Michigan Whitecaps in there. Go Grand Rapids Griffins. Go Grand Rapids Gold, even though you're a G League team for another franchise. But it's all good. It's all good. That's all I got, Mark. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to touch on, if any chatters wanted to sound off at the end here, but
like I said, that's my stance on it right now. We brings up a good point. Detroit just being robbed of Coach of the Year is very common. We saw it with Dan
Detroit
Campbell.
Versus everybody.
It is.
Yep,
and it reaffirms that. And you know what? If we don't win those awards, I'm okay with winning the big game. Like, let's just win the big game. I think you get those accolades if your city gets a little bit of respect. And I think they desperately wanted to give it to Dan Campbell a few years ago. But I think the train has sailed on the media's love for Dan Campbell. They know they love the guy, but I think they're over it. They're going to be always looking for the Coach of the Year to be like,
the next. It's the next man up. That's the way it is.
And his story is over, and it's a cool story at that. But I think we're done with being the sweethearts. They're going to look for somebody else, right? They're going to look for, I don't even know who they're going to get. It won't be out of the Raiders organization. That's why.
No.
Yeah, and you cannot even add McClellan in there right now with the collapse of the Red Wings. I agree. There's just no chance.
McClellan, I just don't think he's not the answer. I hate to say it. I can say that pretty. I like his coaching style. He did he kind of lit a fire under the wings for a while, but I think they're kind of they're done with him. And they got to bring a players coach back in. They got to do something. I don't know. I'm not sure. Next time we stream about this, I'm going to make a video, probably the Hermdos Hockey Minute. We're going to be talking about all the kind of goings on here. But I want to bring this up in earnest, and I want to have a discussion. Maybe we can bring it up on stream next week, or if we do a midweek show. But I want to talk about replacements for Steve Yzerman, replacements for Todd McClellan.
Agreed.
I want to get into it and kind of discuss.
Agree.
Where is this franchise going? If Yzerman can't get the job done, and it looks like he's not able to, where do we go from here? Your prodigal son returned. You know, it was the big story for a long time. But the
It
Irish
was.
are playing it. Yeah, it really was. I was hyped for it. I was so hyped. You have
You
no
weren't the
idea.
only one.
And you obviously not. I mean, you got what's that dickhead's name for the Detroit Free Press? Mitch Albom writing this syrupy little love story about Steve Yzerman when he came back. When Mitch Albom's writing for you, you know it's sappy, but you know it's a big deal. Mitch Albom, they keep him in a hyperbaric chamber.
I was going to say, even that picture they have of him in the paper still looks like it's from 1982.
Yeah, he had that bowl cut and everything. But even Mitch Albom, they brought Mitch Albom out of his, they chiseled him out of his fossil and they brought him in. But yeah, but you know, Yzerman, the Wings need to move on. That's a question I want to ask. We'll start talking about that. I'll make a video about that. We'll see what the Wings do to finish up the season. Could they desperately cling on to a playoff spot and finish the season on a strong note? I don't know, but I tell you what, man, I hate to go back on a Hermdale guarantee, but I'm not feeling good.
Nope, I'm not feeling good about it either. You Hermdale guarantee the Red Wings would make the playoffs, and
win the
first round. A lot of your Hermdale guarantees have been right. That's one that I think we need to rip up and shit on and bury, and put that right into Hitch's garage. Right
Do I
where all
say,
the other bullshit.
Speaking of Hermdale guarantees, we should end the show with a couple of Hermdale guarantees. I think Michigan. I'm going to make a Hermdale guarantee.
Oh boy,
Michigan in the final.
Okay.
Whether it's UConn or Illinois, I'm not sure, but I'm going to say Michigan in the final. They're going to take care of business against Arizona.
I agree.
Yeah, another Hermdale
Michigan,
guarantee.
UConn.
Yeah, I think another Hermdale guarantee. Yeah, Michigan, UConn. That'd be a hell of a game. But I think Detroit Pistons will keep the number 1 seed even without Cade. They will enter the playoffs of the 1 seed. That's a Hermdale guarantee. Don't worry about the Pistons at all. Another Hermdale guarantee. The Tigers, you know what? I made a Hermdale guarantee about Kevin McGonigal. I'm going to say Kevin McGonigal, Rookie of the Year. Hermdale guarantee. I want you guys to write this stuff down. I think another Hermdale guarantee, the Tigers are going to win this division. There's no other team in this division spending like the Tigers with as much talent as the Tigers have. I think, will Tarek Skubal win his 3rd Cy Young in a row? I don't know if I want to go that far. That's
can't be done.
I mean, Greg Maddux couldn't do it. Nolan Ryan couldn't do it. I mean, come on. But it's some fun topics here, but we made some guarantees.
Oh,
we talked about.
Righty then.
Okay, thank you.
Righty then.
Getting interrupted by a drop. Thank you. But I could ramble on about the Red Wings some more, but I think we're a couple of old men. We gotta have our nightly oatmeal and go to bed. So thank you all for watching.
Thank you all for watching. Please tune in again, like and subscribe, share this with your friends, share this with people you don't like, even better, because we got guys like Herb Welch that'll get in this chat and just tear you apart. But yes, thank you all for joining. We love you. We appreciate you.